it always fascinated me, you know, our early training on some of the aircraft. We had a lot of biplanes there, old biplanes, and we had to learn something of how the aerial warfare was with the old biplane during the First World War, yes, with the scarf ring mountains for the machine guns, and also the machine guns that fired through the propellers. And this was something that fascinated me. So we learned how to do that. But of course, when we put the aircraft up on flying position, facing into the machine gun range, which was a big sandbank, you know, backed up by bricks, apparently too often the propellers would be cut off with bullets. So instead of having a propeller on there, they would have a big piece of plywood, circle plywood, with the propeller painted on there, so therefore you could see where your shots were going. So that fascinated me, you know. So we got a bit of training, as they would have done in the latter part of or when the aircraft came in the First World War. And you know, wasn't long after that the war broke out, and then we had to be prepared. And of course America didn't come into the war until about 2 years afterwards. Right. But a lot of people, you know, criticise. I see it so much in it bothers me. See it in the paper all the time, questioning the Americans. You know, it's very, very unfair. If the Americans hadn't supplied us with what we needed, we would have lost the war. There's no question. We could not have fought the Germans. There's no question about that. So therefore, what the Americans did, they sent the aircraft. The first aircraft I was involved in during the war was, well, it wasn't really the first. We had Blenheims, what they called Blenheim aircraft. They were not too bad. I've got a picture downstairs. I'll show you one of them. Sure. But we needed something more up to date, and the Americans sent Lockheed Hudsons up to the borders of Canada, and we had a lot of Canadian pilots, women as well, who flew these over to Britain, you see, but they were stripped down, and there was nothing on them, and we had to work as armourers more than any other trade. We had to work there and fitting all the bomb carriers on, and all the gun turrets, and harmonising them, because the Lockheed Hudson was a two-tailed aircraft. So when your gun fired, you know, if you isn't involved in a heated battle, you don't want to cut off all the tails, you know. So we had to synchronise those so that when it come round, it would stop firing. You know, you understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, very much.
Yeah. So there were certain positions that the gun could only fire. So we had to do that and put the gun, and also they had to be raised up into flying position so that we could use the nose guns, so they would be shooting at a proper angle to any oncoming aircraft in that direction. So therefore we were working 18 hours a day, you know, to equip these aircraft to get into battle, because at that time the biggest threat really was the German Navy. They had a navy that was far, far superior to the British Navy, and many a times we had terrible crashes. And I remember, you know what Lockheed Hudson looks like?
No, I don't.
It's a big, heavy aircraft. Actually, it was a passenger aircraft, really. And I was sitting on a load of bombs, ready to go around the field and bomb up. And this Lockheed Hudson came down, took off, and he went up. And I said, he's going to do a loop-the-loop. You know, it's a bomber. He's like, you know, kid, you know, what's he doing? And he went up and down, you know. It's tragic. And our mortuary, the morgue, was right next to our armory. Like the morgue would be through there, and you could smell the burned bodies in there. And there was bodies in there every day for the first several months of the war. And then only after that it diminished to maybe one body every week, you know, or something like that. The beginning of the war was terrible, really, you know. And of course, we were all new to this. I recall that with the Hudson aircraft, one of the aircraft crashed just outside the village, and it had 100-pound general purpose bombs on it. It went in fire, and of course all the villagers came up to see this, and of course when they realised they had bombs on it, you know, I remember our armament officer shouting, "Get back, there's bombs on this," and of course they just flew, you know. But then he told us, "Get in there and get the bombs out." And of course the bomb area had been broken, and the bombs were lying there. And I remember pulling these bombs out. We didn't realise the danger, I guess, or big in the excitement or whatever. These bombs were hot, pulling them out, you know. So there was a lot of things that happened at the beginning of the war, you know, that shouldn't have happened, I don't think.